Greetings and salutations, boys and girls. Welcome to my kingdom. Today's story takes us to a land far, far away where pink pups and purple unicorns roam freely. Gather ye pups and unicorns as we begin our tale. Today's story is titled The Princess and the Three Knights. Karen Kingsbury wrote this tale, and Gabrielle Grimard very colorfully created the pictures. Well, this story is about love. Love has more than one meaning. I love ice cream. I love my children. I really love my grandchildren. And I got married a while back, and I love my husband. Your dad loves your mom. Well, our story focuses on what the Bible says about love. God says that love is patient and kind. It does not envy, nor does it boast or get prideful. That means it's bragging about what it likes. Love always protects and trusts and hopes and perseveres. So we're going to see what this kind of love acts like. Here we go. There once was a princess, the fairest one in all the land. In the busy streets and cozy houses of the village, everyone knew about the great and rare beauty of the princess. The children in the village waited for her to pass by, just for a chance to look into her shining eyes. For you see, as beautiful as the princess was, her greater beauty came from within. And here she is. It's a picture of her going about the village. Every eligible young knight was interested in marrying the king's daughter. Many wanted the hand of the princess because of her beauty. Others thought she could make them rich. Well, the king decided that only a knight who treasured the princess for who she was on the inside would be worthy of her hand in marriage. So here he is. Well, for this reason, the king agreed to stage a competition to fight the one knight with a heart as beautiful as that of his daughter. The competition would involve tests and challenges to determine which knights possessed the courage and strength, deep loyalty and kindness, and most of all, a deep faith in God. So the games began. The knights fixed houses and ran races. They fought their way through the treacherous great dark forest outside the village. They lifted barrels of water and cleared fallen tree limbs from the king's field. They wrote essays on loyalty and faith. Over time, the list of potential husbands for the princess was narrowed to 3 worthy knights. One knight had passed all the tests, but the king sensed that he was arrogant. That means he thought pretty highly of himself. Another was strong and brave, but the king felt that he was driven by greed. What's in it for me? And the last knight was loyal and kind, but the king still wasn't sure he was right for his princess. And so the king developed a final test, the most important test of all. All right, so we've got the 3 knights. The village sat on a hill near a sharp, steep cliff overlooking the sea. The king staged the final competition not far from this treacherous cliff, and in a booming voice, the king announced, This last competition is for horsemanship. You will pretend that the princess is riding with you and race your horse as fast and hard as you can, straight for the drop-off. We will see which of you can take the princess closest to the cliff without going over the edge. That is quite the test. We'll see. The men straightened in their saddles. The first knight smiled at the crowd and adjusted his armor. His heart was beating hard, but he refused to show fear. The second knight glanced at the princess and imagined how rich he would be if only he could get his horse closest to the edge of the cliff. His hands trembled on the reins, but greater than his fear was the possibility of more riches than he'd ever dreamed of having. The third knight was calm, cool, collected, his eyes bright. In his heart, he remembered words his father had told him. I can do everything through God who strengthens me. He quietly whispered these words over and over again. I can do everything through God who gives me strength. Here they are. All right. The crowd grew quiet in anticipation. The first knight gave a nod to the king. I could get the princess within a foot of the edge of that cliff. A stirring of awe and amazement came from the village people, and when the noise died down, the king raised his hand. Very well, begin. With the wind in his face, the first knight tore across the field. The villagers held their breath as the knight headed for the drop-off. With a pull on his reins, the first knight stopped his horse exactly 1 foot from the edge of the cliff. About like that. The villagers marveled at the feat and clapped for the knight. Surely, one of them said, this will be the man awarded the hand of the princess. Maybe. The second knight stared at the king, confidence blazing in his eyes. I, he said, can take the princess 6 inches from the cliff without going over. Now the people raised their voices. He's crazy, one shouted. He'll plunge to the ocean below, another screamed. But the second knight silenced them. I can do this. I can and I will. And a hush fell over the crowd. Very well, the king gave the command. Away you go. The stallion burst across the field. Faster and faster, the second knight flew toward the edge of the cliff until suddenly the horse and rider came to a grinding halt. 6 inches, the second knight shouted. Measurements were taken, and indeed, the knight had brought his steed 6 inches, 6 short inches from the edge of the cliff. The princess stood a little closer to the king. Her beautiful eyes were wide and fearful. The crowd roared for the second knight. Who could do better? The second knight is a hero! A hero! Hero, 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 hero. As the townspeople settled down, the king turned to the third knight. "So tell me, young knight, exactly how close to the cliff can you bring the princess?" The villagers held their breath, waiting for his answer. For a long time, the third knight looked deep into the eyes of the princess. Then he turned back to the king. "Your Majesty, I love the princess. She is more precious to me than anything in the kingdom." And he lowered his reins. "I wouldn't take her anywhere near that cliff." Wow. "That," the king shouted, "is the right answer. Only a knight who would protect my princess is worthy of her hand." He smiled at the young man. "And so you shall have the hand of my daughter." Woohoo! And the crowd goes wild. The princess felt her heart take flight, for this was love. When the time came, her wedding was a grand celebration for the entire village. Over the years, the knight protected the princess again and again. For the knight was brave and strong, loyal and kind. But most of all, his faith in God had taught him that true love always protects. He cherished the princess all the days of her life, and they lived happily, wait for it, ever after. They lived happily ever after. Wasn't that just the sweetest story? I just love stories like that. Well, the Bible tells us that we can love others because God has loved us first. We can show that we love others if we are patient and we don't demand our own way. So when you play with other kids, do you let them take a turn first? We demonstrate love to others when we're brave and we protect them from harm or maybe a bully on the playground. We tell others that we love them when we work hard to do what is right. Loving others like this is not always easy, but we can ask God for wisdom and the strength to do what is right. And just like the third night, remember that you can do all things through God who strengthens you. Until next time, love others.